G'day everyone, welcome to Severe Weather Chasers update on the 8th of February 2012. We're just looking quickly today at the potential instability values around and whether or not we can see a repeat of some thunderstorm activity that we saw yesterday. We can see this is a measure of the lifted index, which is a measure of instability. The darker the blue or into the purple, the more unstable the area is. We can see that instability is very much along the coastline today, not much happening inland at all. So that's at 4 p.m. Fast forwarding to 7 p.m. we see a peak in instability values just off the coast of Townsville and also just to the south of Townsville towards the Burdekin. We go to 10 p.m. we continue to see that peak in instability there. So most of the instability looks like it will occur later this afternoon and into this evening. This is 1 p.m. so we can see that it's quite stable still at 1 p.m. If we go to our Cape values, anything in the orange, this is the available potential energy. Anything in the orange and red is going to start to be quite favourable for development of thunderstorms. So we can see here not much happening on the coast. At 4 p.m. we start to get this little bit of activity just creeping onto the coast. 7 p.m. we've got a really nice area of potential instability there. Potential energy there, but we've got a little bit creeping onto the coast, and 10 p.m. We continue to see some pretty good values just near Townsville itself. If we then head on to the total totals index, we've got total totals of 44 plus at 1 p.m. in that small area. At 4 p.m. that area continues to be quite small over the Burdekin. We've also got good values in here over the tablelands. 7 p.m. it's all gone. 10 p.m. it continues to be all gone. The kinetic index looks at the potential, I guess, of that energy to become kinetic energy, that potential energy that we just saw to become kinetic energy. And so we've got 1 p.m. fairly good potential to see stuff happening. 4 p.m. we continue to see this nice little area in here. Obviously in the tablelands there we do have an enhanced potential. 7 p.m. we start to get less potential over here as dry air pushes through, and 10 p.m. potential's basically gone and it remains north of us. Really though, to be assured of thunderstorm activity we need purple, and we're not seeing purple. What are the chances of our storms being severe? Well, we need values in the high 200s. We've got a value of 220 here at 1 p.m. This is the sweat index, and we see that value continuing in there at 4 p.m, at 7 p.m, and at 10 p.m. it's all but gone. So that sweat index, we really need values of 300 or high 200s to be looking at severe potential storms. We also need to have a quick look at the potential instability today. So starting at 1 p.m. we see that if caps break, we do have quite good potential for uplift at 1 p.m. At 4 p.m. we continue to see that potential for uplift over the Burdekin. At 7 p.m. we start to get less potential, and obviously once we lose that heating, obviously the potential becomes less, and we do get to see more potential here over the tablelands. And by 10 p.m. we basically have very little potential instability. Alright, so what kills our chances today? Well, this is the moisture levels and the winds at 850 hectopascals. That's just over a kilometre above the ground. And we can see here we've got reasonably good moisture levels all along the coastline. We've got this drier air pushing in at 1 p.m. At 4 p.m. we continue to see this dry air will make its way much further to the east, and so anywhere sort of west of Charters Towers by 4 p.m. is not looking great at all. We still have pretty good moisture levels right along the coastal fringe. At 7 p.m. we continue to see that push of dry air all the way into the northern goldfields, upper Flinders. Still got nice moist air here over the tablelands. Still got some really nice moist air between Mackay and Rocky. The Townsville area is starting to dry out just a little, and by 10 p.m. tonight we really see that dry air is now pushing right into the Herbert Burdekin. Still good moisture levels north of Cairns, still good moisture levels south of Mackay. I guess what really kills thunderstorm potential today is the dryness of the rest of the atmosphere. This is 700 hectopascals, so this is 3 kilometres above. So you can see we've got a lot of moisture at the surface, or near the surface along this coastline. But once we get up to 700 hectopascals, we've got 50% or less of moisture. And if we continue on through the afternoon, that dries out further. So this is 4 p.m. By 4 p.m, even this area near Mackay, which is looking fantastic for storms, is actually now drying out quite considerably. At 7 p.m, we see this dryness just pushing right into the area, and at 10 p.m, we've basically got an entire region in here that's completely devoid of any moisture whatsoever in the mid-levels. Now, don't get me wrong, dry air isn't necessarily all bad. Dry air in the mid-levels actually helps promote some uplift. Now, and it also helps promote the development of lightning and all sorts of things. So dry mid-level air is good. However, we don't need it to extend any further up. So what we have is we have dry air at 700 hectopascals. We then have extremely dry air at 500. This is the 500 hectopascal level at 1 p.m. We're going to move on to 4 p.m, we're going to move on to 7 p.m, and then we're going to move on to 10 p.m. It's just dead set, it's bone dry, it's a desert up there. So once you get above about 2 kilometres into the atmosphere, it is an absolute desert according to this modelling for the rest of today. This is looking at the precipitation probabilities. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m, we've got the potential to see showers here on the coastal fringe, or sorry, just inland of the coastal escarpment. 1 p.m. to 4 p.m, we continue to see the potential for storms in this area. As I say, though, knowing near the intensity and the scattering that we had of yesterday's thunderstorms, but we could still see an isolated cell or two. Once we get to 4 to 7 p.m, we see the activity just drying out completely. As I showed you there, too much dry air coming in by the end of the night. And 10 p.m. as well, we just got some showers, isolated at best, but in terms of any heavy storm activity, none expected. All of the images today are courtesy of the Brisbane Storm Chasers website and are of the Global Forecasting System model, and you can see the GFS website here, the Brisbane Storm Chasers website there. Type that into your browser. Type that there into your browser, and you'll get to play with these maps as well and have a look at them for yourself. But as I say, we're not going to say absolutely zero potential today, but it's dry, and it's going to make things difficult to get up. Alright, now if we look at the sounding for today for Townsville, we can also start to look at the certainly the dryness of the atmosphere at above the 700 hectopascal level. So we can see here, this is the height, this is the moisture line, this is the temperature line, and we can really see how quickly, or not quickly, but how badly it dries out after about 14,000 feet. Now, if we had a little bit of dryness in here, like we do here, and then the moisture came back, then we would say we're very well in with the chance of thunderstorms. However, because it dries out and then the moisture never really comes back in the middle and upper levels, the chances are that we'll see convective showers popping up, but we won't see thunderstorms. Now, the big thing we need to note in this trace is this capping inversion. If you see here, the grey line is to the left of the temperature line. So this is the temperature line, the red line. The grey line to the left of it is bad news. It means we've got to get that grey line off to the right of that temperature line. So it means we're going to have another very hot day to get something moving, even as far as the 600 hectopascal level. Now, there is obviously a chance, depending on how much moisture gets uplifted, that we will see an isolated storm. So we're not completely discounting the potential, but the potential is much lower than yesterday, and especially to see any sort of widespread outbreak. If we do see an outbreak of storms, they're likely to push from west to east, so they are likely to make the coast, probably a little faster than the other day. But as I say, the indices are not suggesting a widespread storm outbreak today. If we look at some of our identifiers from the University of Wyoming, they do a complete and thorough analysis of some of the data that we use. Showalter index of 2.2 suggests the atmosphere is pretty stable. Lifted index of right on 0 suggests we've got marginal instability / stability. So it means we're going to need a trigger. So it means we're going to need very hot temperatures or some other sort of trigger like a trough system pushing back onshore. Last night we had a trough system that pushed offshore. The sweat index 185, nothing severe today. Kinetic index here is still high, so the K index still suggests that we're in with a chance of a storm. The totals index is quite low. That generally just suggests showers, maybe the isolated very weak thunderstorm. Cape is quite low, 300. We really need that up over 1,000. Basically, if storms develop today, they're going to get pretty high into the atmosphere. 326 hectopascals is the equilibrium level. We do have a lot of inhibition to convection, so that means a lot of stuff that needs to happen before we can get those clouds developing. Basically, overall, the trace isn't very conducive to thunderstorms today. Just to show you, our modelling's on the same page. This is the EC model for rainfall between 10 AM to 1 PM. 1 PM to 4 PM, we see the potential for some showers and storms here, showers and storms up here. Big dry patch between Cairns and about just to the north of, or just around Bowen. 4 PM to 7 PM, just really nothing. We just see that dry air just smashing us and just killing everything. 10 PM, we do start to see a little bit of moisture coming back on the coast, as what normally happens on the coast at 10 PM. As around about 10 to sort of 4 AM, we get a lot more moisture right along the coastline, so we could see these showers. And we saw that there's a lot of instability out here off the coast, so that is a chance of seeing some shower and storm activity off the coast tonight. 1 AM, sorry, this is 1 AM tomorrow, 10 PM today till 1 AM tomorrow, some of that shower activity popping onto the coast. 4 AM, we see some more showers just encroaching the coast, most of it's offshore. And 4 AM to 7 AM, we see some shower and storm activity returning back to the far northern parts of the North Tropical Coast and Tablelands, and also down here towards Mackay Rocky shower activity. Thursday 7 to 10 AM, not much change. Thursday 10 AM to 1 PM, we start to see a little bit more in convective shower activity here on the coastal escarpment. Thursday 1 PM to 4 PM, good thunderstorm activity here over the peninsula, and also some shower activity, but still bone dry over this area here. So while you're suffering with heat and humidity at the surface, there's nothing in the levels above you. So that's the problem, and that's why we're not going to see a big widespread outbreak of storms. As I say, today we are still a chance of seeing a storm in the area. More likely we're a chance of seeing showers, but we still need to meet that cap temperature of about 36, 37 degrees, so that nothing's changed there. But it will be extremely coastal, there won't be anything too far inland, and really the amount of dry air pushing through anywhere above 2 to 3 kilometres up in the atmosphere is just going to kill the potential as the evening presses on. So not real good news, and look, we're not expecting things to change for a few days yet. So hot, humid conditions, but not humid above the surface. So we've got an issue there where it's going to be very, very oppressive. You're not going to get much relief for it. So I hope you enjoyed the storm last night. Thanks for watching, and if things look active tomorrow, we'll have an update. Otherwise, we won't update until the next active day. Thank you.